I just want you to know that. Now, what's my point of saying all of that? I believe the divine word today is, watch this, uncommon people will produce an uncommon result in your life. God is bringing together an uncommon gathering of people to produce an uncommon result in the earth. I want you to hear that gospel. I want you to hear that word. I want you to know that word. And what happens is we spend so much time being around people that we're comfortable with. Julia does it. Anna does it. Davion does it. Children do it all the time. And what's amazing about kids when they're in first grade, second grade, fifth grade, then middle school, then high school, the groupings change. See, what was common to them, everybody sat down and played with blocks in kindergarten. Everybody played together in preschool. Everybody got in line and played the choo-choo train. Everybody would sing a song. But then as we go along, society tells us you might have more in common with that group of people there. So society will shift this one over here and shift that one over there. Common. And so we find ourselves, the individuals that have the certain budget incomes, most of the time they live in the same district. The individuals who don't have much money, most time they live in the same district. The individuals with money, oftentimes they have a great school system. The individuals, am I helping anybody? I'm talking about, what do you do when you find yourself in a district you don't want to be in? What do you do when you find yourself with a group and you say, I'm not that? What do you do when you find yourself walking around with ducks and you believe that God told you to soar? What do you do? Some people call to float on the water. Some people call to say quack, quack. And some people are called like the hawk to soar. Some people are called like the eagle to fly. Some people, ain't nothing wrong with it, are called the water in the hog pen. Some people like an old mule are called to carry a heavy load. All I'm saying, nothing wrong with the mule, nothing wrong with the fish, nothing wrong with the bird. But if you call to be a bird, ain't no need of getting in the water. If you call to be a great whale, no need to try to sit on a branch. And what happens, metaphorically speaking, when we allow people to identify who we are, oftentimes with the human eyes, they see the whale as the bird and the bird as the whale. And so they'll tell the bird who's singing on the limb that it needs to jump in the ocean. And they'll tell the deep blue sea creature, tell him that he needs to fly to the sky. And the whale can't fly and the bird can't swim. And then they'll tell you, you must be a failure. What do you do when what's common don't feel right? What do you do when somebody want to tell you who you are? What do you do? There's somebody listening by the sound of my authority in God. The anointing brings an authority. Somebody say amen. Amen. And I want you to understand that if God told you to swim, you're going to swim. Amen. If he told you to fly, you're going to fly. Yes. I'm talking about, but well, that sounds real good. How does it happen? I don't care if I have hundreds of people gathered. Hundreds of people gathered. A handful. I got the same sermon. I got that same thing. Some of you know my story. I've been in places. I've preached in jail cells. I mean, preach that thing, man. I've been invited in prisons to preach, and I preached it. I've been in prison. and they asked me to preach. Say, hey, Reverend, that old chaplain ain't got it. They won't let us go today. And I know you're reading your Bible. Can't preach it for us today. God bless an old fella by the name of, we'll call him Debo. And going through something this day, said, Reb, please preach it for me. Said, no, man, I'm just laying down just like you, brother. Talking to the Lord just like you, man. Get your Bible and talk with him. They said, no, man, we need to hear it. I said, I don't know if the Lord want me to do that. He said, we need a word. Next morning, he said, I got them all out there for you, man. Come give us a word. Preaching all kind of places. Found myself prison environment, working in the kitchen. Individuals say, well, Good Friday. Am I helping anybody? Preacher, what does Good Friday mean anyway? I said, well, he died on Friday. That made it good. Well, if he died, another one down the line. If he died, why it's good? I said, he died for me, man. Oh, Islamic brother with a nice beard. Well, why he had to die for you? Old boy out of Dallas said, Real preacher to him. Said, no, man, I'm just in here like you, man. Trying to get on back home, that's all. I don't know if the Lord want me to do that. Whole line of people. Man, preach that thing for. Tell us about Good Friday. Well, the plates stopped moving, and everybody was in church. And we started preaching about what? Good Friday. I started telling them about going from judgment hall to judgment hall. I started telling them about when he was in that late night trial. He could have slid on out of there. But he ain't say a mumbling word because he wanted to go to the cross. Told him about when he got to the cross. He could have called a legion of forces to get him down, but he stayed there anyway. And talked about how we all are in a legal cross right now. We all find ourselves in a legal crucifix right now. Some gonna be here for 5 years. Some gonna be here for 6 months. Some might be on the backside of a 30-year journey. But it's all right, because he died on Good Friday. So we talked about it a little bit and talked about how he laid there. What? All day on Friday, all day on Saturday. And man, when I said, but he got up early, man, them folk went to shouting. That old guard ran in there and said, you ain't no preacher. I said, I'm a God man. Straight looking at him, I'm a God man. You ain't no preacher. You call it what you want to call it. I'm a God man. You ain't going to preach it? I said, I preach where I want to preach. I went to preaching. 10 of them show up. You ain't no preacher. I said, I'm a God man. And I'm going to be a God man. I'm going to preach it. See, you cannot let the common crowd tell you you're not an uncommon creature. Somebody better hear this thing. Now, this is straight gospel. As them young folks said, I'm keeping it straight 100 with you. So they got about 12 of them. They want to rumble. They want to get me in trouble. We're gonna put you somewhere you don't want to be. Say, I'm a God man. I walk anywhere. This ain't just no talking. This the gospel. So they march me around like I'm a serial killer. we're going to put you in here. I said, I'm going to preach in here. So one of those boys in there said, you better shut up. I said, shut me up. I'm going to preach this gospel. They should have put me in here. For about 24 hours, man, I preached that gospel. I didn't shut up. By the first few hours, they say, man, shut up. Then around about 5 or 6 hours in, they said, you shut up, let him preach. Oh, God told me I want to preach it, man. Came and knocked on the door. Stop preaching. I said, I'm going to preach this gospel. Yes, sir. Say, open it up. I went to preaching and looking at him, talking and telling him what the gospel said. He said, I believe you're a preacher. I said, okay, I'll shut up. What am I trying to tell you? That's called straight truth. What am I trying to tell you? Don't let nobody tell you you can't fly. Don't let nobody tell you you can't swim. Don't let nobody tell you if you're made like a mule, you can't carry that load. I want you to know. I think about him all the time. He's just really kind young man.